Okay. What you saying, producers? E.N.I on the track, back on your box. Drake done it again, dropping another banger earlier this month with his new single, What's Next? And y'all gotta give special mention to the producer of that beat, Super Mario. If ever you needed advice or an example of how to make beats for artists, that is the perfect example there. Making a simple beat that leaves enough room for an artist. And that's so clearly evident in this track, right? If you break it down and really listen to the beat, all it is the same loop repeated throughout, with the only variation in the beat being in the way that the patterns are arranged for the 808s, the hi-hats and the snares, with a couple of dropouts in the snares and the hi-hats. So in the spirit of simplicity, today's video, I'm going to be cooking up a Drake type trap beat. But before we get into making the beat, I'm going to give a shout out to all of you guys that have been watching and subscribing to the channel, showing your support in the comments. It's great to learn that you guys are getting value from the videos I'm dropping and that you're picking up things that are helping to improve your own production on Beatmaker Free. And yeah, we're going to keep going with these videos, keep dropping gems. And look, anything that I learn, I'm going to be passing on to you guys as well. And for those of you that are new to this channel, this is your first time seeing one of my videos, I drop weekly tutorials on music production on Beatmaker Free on the iPad. And if you make any urban type of music like trap, drill, UK rap, Afro swing, and you're looking to up your production game on Beatmaker Free, subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit that notification bell so you know when my next videos are dropping. And check out my previous videos in the channel as well. I'm dropping loads of tips and tricks on Beatmaker Free, so you're bound to pick something up. But yo, let's get into it. So just like the beat from What's Next, I'm looking for a melody that's simple, catchy, can be played 8 bars longer, repeated throughout the whole beat. I think I'm going to go with a loop today. So you've got a loop of the day today. So I found this particular loop by Yevum in the Possessed loop kit. It's a free loop kit, but definitely shows some support. There's a couple of other decent loops in this, but this is one I think I'm going to use for this beat today. Yeah, that could run. So up until now, I've been showing you one method I use for getting my melodies and samples and loops into my beats. And that's by dragging and dropping the file onto a pad, going over to the sampler, as always, setting the BPM so it matches the BPM of the sample, turn on live stretching and playing it in. And the main advantage of using this method is if you're a sampler, you like to use vocal chops or chop up a sample 16 ways and tap them in using pads, this is the method for you. However, you may just want to drag and drop a sample, drop it into your playlist and have it play over and over. You're not looking to do any chops with it at all. And if you're coming from your desktop doors, you'll be used to dragging and dropping a WAV file into your playlist and just copying and pasting it multiple times. And we can achieve this in Beatmaker Free as well. If I head over to my sequencer view, tapping this button on the left, I go over to add a track and add an audio track because we're dealing with a WAV file here. I can go back to my browser, find the loop I want to work with, drag and drop it onto the audio track. Beatmaker Free won't let you drop it on a bank. And there you go. We've got the sample viewable now as a WAV file on our sequencer. Now, obviously, I'm not planning to use the entire sample as a loop. So we're going to go into the sample and edit out what we don't need. So we're left with the 8-bar loop that we do need for the beat. We can double tap on the audio file, or we could tap on the edit button here. And that takes us to this first edit window where we can loop the audio file. If I want to do some real processing and some real editing of the sample, we tap the edit sample button at here, and that takes us into the editor for the sample. So let's play the whole sample and work out what bits we're going to take from it. I definitely like the flute in this. I think I'm going to keep that. Yeah, that's it. That's the loop there. That's the loop right there. So this is a 24-bar sample split over 3 sections. I've got 2 sections in mind that I'm going to use. I'm going to use that middle section where it hasn't got the flute, and then the first 8 bars where it has got the loop in. So it's going to be sort of an A and B to this beat. So let's deal with capturing only the middle section of this loop first. First things first, just like with the pads method, we're going to go over to our BPM, set the tempo so it matches that of the sample we've been given. We know it's 136 BPM, so we set that. Live stretch it on as always. So now we're set the tempo of the beat. Let's just see how it sounds at 140 BPM. That's a bit fast. Let's take it down a bit. Let's go with 134 BPM for the project. The next thing I'm going to do, because I don't like to use a sample in its original pitch or its original form, I like to do something with it at least to make it sound different from how it came in the pack. So for this loop, I think I'm going to take the pitch up a bit and see how that sounds. So to take the pitch up in the sample editor window, because we don't have the tune dial that we're used to in the pads method, we've got to tap process, and here we got stretch and pitch. So here we can also adjust the BPM of the sample, but we've done that already. But it's down here that we're concerned with the tune. Let's take it up a couple of semitones and see how it sounds. Nah, that don't sound good. Let's undo that. Let's try a bit higher. Actually, let's go lower. I like the key that it's in, but I think I'm going to take it up an octave. So we're going to undo that quickly. So chromatically, we've got 12 semitones. And because I've just taken it down 5 semitones and I like the key, but I want to take it up an octave, we're going to add 12 to -5. So we know we're going to take this up to 7 semitones, and that should be an octave higher. Let's play that. Yeah, I like that. I think that's going to work. Right, so we've got the pitch set and we've got the tempo set. Now we want to loop out the section we want to use for the beat. So in order to do that, see our S and E tabs. These are the start and ends of the loop for the entire wave file. We want to drag those into bar 9 and bar 17, as those represent the middle 8 bars of the 24 bar loop. So first things first, if I tap on 0 snap, that toggles the grid snap. If I zoom in a bit, you can see because we set the tempo to match the tempo of the sample, all our kicks, hi-hats, and snares should fall perfectly on the grid lines. So I'm going to tap and hold on the start tab. You can see it says sample start. I'm going to drag that over to the line of bar 9, and that snaps to the line. And then over to the other end, I'm going to tap and hold on end sample tab and drag that over to the line of bar 17. So that's an 8 bar loop now. If I tap on the X here to exit the editor, go back to the song mode of the sequencer view, you can see now we've only looped those 8 bars, and those 8 bars are visible. Everything else has been edited out of the loop. Now, I did say I want to use the first section of the loop as well, where it's got the flutes in. So a simple way to do that, if I tap and hold on the audio track, I can duplicate that. It duplicates the track and it duplicates the sample that falls within it. And if I double tap on the sample file of the second audio track, tap on edit sample, I can tap and hold on this grey bar that I've got selected here, and that drags the whole loop over to a desired section of the sample. I could have grid snap turned on, but because I know I'm dragging it to the beginning of the loop, I know it's going to be a perfect 8 bar loop, as you can see. So that's the flute section there. Let's just solo that out and hear that on its own. Right, so we've got our melodies in place. I'm going to add some effects to the first melody. I think I'm going to start by trying out halftime and see how that sounds. So we've got the Blair Slow machine loaded up. Let's hear how it sounds with halftime. So what I've gone and done there is, I like the halftime effect, definitely at quarter speed, but I don't want it to be the main melody itself. So I've taken advantage of the filter settings in Blair Slow Machine to only apply the effect to the low end of the sample. So now we're getting some bass to the melody. Cool, so that's halftime set. I want to add some vinyl effect to it. I'm gonna head over to Mixbox. I've said it before, guys. Mixbox is a great multi-effects plugin. For the price that it's at, if it's still at the introductory price, it's a steal. You've got over 70 effects plugins you could take advantage of. And what's great about Mixbox as well is you can save effects chains as well as effects presets individually. And I've gone ahead and created my own effects chain for vinyl effects. It's got a phonograph and a tape cassette effect on. Let's hear how it sounds with that crackle. I've also added Wow by Sugar Bites for that added grit to the sample. I think I'm going to take down the wetness for this particular preset. Let's see how that sounds. Let's just add an EQ to take out low end. Now with Mixbox and this phonograph effect in play, I'm getting a constant crackle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bounce this audio track out to a new audio track with the effects applied. You can't hear it because I've muted the screen recording for the times I'm talking, but yeah, there's a constant crackle going on. So let me bounce out the audio. With the original audio bounced out now, I can delete that original audio track. Now let's focus on the sample section with the flute. Similar effects. I think I'm going to apply the Mixbox preset, and then I'm going to add an EQ and do a low cut, enough that we cut out as much of the rest of the sample as possible and we're left with just the flutes. Right, so we got our melodies in place. Let's start laying down some drums. I'm going to start with the hi-hats, and I've got 2 power workflow tips for you guys. The first of those tips is the loading of pre-made banks. You may find, like me, that you're using a similar set of hi-hats or drums or snares for every one of your beats. And it's probably a good habit to get into, especially when you're trying to craft your own sound. And the Beatmaker 3, once you've got all of your drums loaded up on the pads, you can go over to the 3 dots here and save them as a custom made bank. Now I've gone ahead and done this before because I found myself using the same hi-hats for a lot of my trap beats. So there are 2 ways to load custom made banks. We can either tap on the 3 dots here, select load bank, and that takes us into our file explorer under the banks tab where we can find our banks. And as you can see, there are loads of banks that come with Beatmaker 3. Some of these are in-app purchases as well. The second way of finding our banks is actually through the folder structure. Under documents, we can go to bank presets and we can find our custom made banks here. I've got mine under hi-hats. Let's tap that. We can select load bank. And here we've got a selection of hi-hats that I like to use for trap beats. Power tip number 2 is the import of MIDI notes. You might have gone out and got yourself a couple of MIDI packs, chord MIDI packs, drum MIDI packs. You may have created some MIDI patterns yourself in the past on desktop DAWs and you've saved them as .mid files. And you want to be able to import them into Beatmaker 3 to speed up your workflow so you're not having to create new hi-hat patterns every time. You can do this on Beatmaker 3. If you head over to our sequencer view, and I've got a pre-made hi-hat pattern that I've created already for the hi-hats. If I double tap on the grid space in the hi-hats bank, that creates a new pattern. Double tap into that pattern. Go over to my menu. Let's go back from here, back to the documents view. And if you go to MIDI exports, here's where you can find all of your imported MIDI files if you've got any. This is the place you want to drop them into. And any MIDI patterns that you save from within Beatmaker 3 will be saved into this folder also. So I've got a MIDI pattern here, Trap Hats 1. Drag and drop the MIDI file into your pattern window. It'll pop up with this dialog box. Just ignore this, tap import, and all of your MIDI notes have been imported in. As you can see, because I'm used to using this custom bank of hi-hats, the MIDI notes I've imported are all falling on the correct pads. So let's play this hi-hat pattern in isolation. Just gonna add a couple more notes. And let's hear how it sounds with the melody. Yo, this beat is sounding crazy. So now we've got the 808s recorded in. Let's get ourselves a kick. The 808 is carrying a lot of the energy in this beat, so I don't want to find a kick that's too punchy or too overpowering. So I found a kick that I like. What I've done is I've added an equalizer to it and I've cut out a lot of the high end so you get none of the punchiness. So it's just going to sit subtly with the 808. I've shown you in previous videos, it's pretty simple to paint your kick pattern in once you've got your 808s laid out and you want them to match. If I go to my pattern header here, I'm going to go into pattern 1 to start with, double tap on that, that opens the pattern. If I double tap on the lasso of the MIDI notes section, that selects all of my 808 notes. I'm going to copy, paste, I'm going to drag the pasted notes up to pad 2 because that's where my kick is. And if I tap on the keyboard here, that takes me to the melodic notes within that pad. And I just want to make sure that all of these notes are at the same pitch to start with. And then I'm going to double tap on the lasso and just take them up to the middle C. And I'll do the same for all 3 patterns. So there you go, guys. Simple yet slapping beat. Worthy of a Drake verse, in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. But yeah, not too much going on in the beat. Got a nice simple melody playing throughout. Some variation in the 808 pattern. And yeah, if that's all you take from today's video, simplicity and leaving room for the artist to show their real creativity on the beat. I'm going to go ahead and mix this beat down now, so stick around to the end of the video for the full beat. If you like what you've seen in today's video, let me know by dropping a like. Drop a comment, let me know what you liked in the video, what you want to see going forward. And if you didn't like this video, drop a dislike anyways. A hater still a rater. At least it lets YouTube know that I'm still doing something. And as always, guys, keep cooking.